This and every Thursday on the Caribbean's powerhouse, Von Radio for Speak Up, a social commentary talk show that addresses the state of affairs on Nevis. Expect great conversations, different perspectives, and an all-inclusive approach to moving Nevis forward. Tune in. It's time for us to speak up.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is the 16th day of June 2022 and it's another edition of Speak Up. A pleasant good evening, or pleasant evening, that is, to our regular listeners, and to our new listeners. It is always good to be in your company. I want to begin by extending congratulations to and best wishes, as well as anniversary greetings and birthday greetings to those of us, or those of you who are celebrating, be it an anniversary, a birthday, any occasion, any reason to celebrate. We want to celebrate with you and to say, do enjoy those special moments. I also want to extend the condolences to those who are bereaved at the moment, or those who are having a difficult time. I want to continue to encourage you to hold on to God's unchanging hand, and to know that our thoughts and our prayers are with you as usual. Jaedee will be alongside me shortly, and so while we wait her arrival, I just want to say to you that it is good to be in your company. Tonight we have a packed show for you as we continue to look at the issues that are affecting divisions, issues that are current in the conversation. Of course, you know, it's a political season. Gearing up for a federal election, which could be called at any time. Of course, we recognize that the month of August is the deadline for the ringing of the bell, as we say colloquially within the region. I think it's the 8th day of August. By that particular day, the elections must be held, and so we are continuing the conversations as we go along and interact with our division people, residents and citizens, understanding what their challenges are, where they are in their life development, and of course we continue to engage them on how can we help them and how can we be of assistance going forward in this journey. Of course, we, as we continue to push that, we are about promoting a legislative agenda, and that is because we believe that that is the way to go in ensuring that the benefits that are to be had by divisions are guaranteed, that they are always there, and that our division public can enjoy those benefits. And so we are on the move, as we said. We have been in different places. We continue to mobilize as we seek to represent the people of Nevis at the federal level. So you'll be hearing and seeing more of us, but tonight we focus on a few very critical areas of interest. And before we get into that, colleague is here. Give a few seconds to settle in, and then, as per usual, let us get our greetings in, and we'll continue the conversation from there. So, Jaedee?
Hi, good evening, Rohan, and good evening to everyone out there, whether you're listening via Von Radio 860 AM, 93.7 FM, or you're tuned to Von Radio's social media pages in Facebook and YouTube. It's a pleasure to be here on another Thursday evening. It's a bit overcast dusty on the outside, and so it's giving the illusion that the time of day is different to what it is. I think we have some Sahara dust in the area, Rohan, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so I don't know what the situation is where you are, because I know we have quite a few persons from varying parts of the world, but that's the situation with us here on the island of Nevis. Now, before I go any further, I want to pause and offer condolences to those who are mourning at this time, particularly the Williams family in Arlene Williams and Deborah Morris from Brown Hill. I understand that Deborah Morris lost her father recently, and he is the uncle, if I'm not mistaken, of Arlene Williams, and so I offer condolences to that family. I also want to offer condolences to the Forbes family of Government Road. Recently we lost Colleen Forbes. Colleen is someone who I know very well. The entire family I know very well, because naturally they're from Government Road, and I spent a good portion of my childhood in that area. So I just want to offer deepest condolences to the entire Forbes Brazier family. Her 4 children, all young people I know very well. So Tiana, Anthony, CJ, and Mark, condolences to you. The mother, Mackie. Brother Appley, I'm not going to call his government name before he give me some word. And we have other members of the family as well, you know. So we just want to offer condolences to them and hope that they find comfort in fond memories. Rohan, a lot has been going on. A lot has been going on. I'm a little bit concerned and worried about the nature of our politics at this time. It seems that certain things are getting so much attention while other things continue to be neglected. And it's sad when we, as the ordinary man and woman, look on and complain that we don't like how certain things are, but we say nothing about the type of politics that's happening, in that we're afraid to call out these people. We just say we don't like what's happening. And I personally have a problem with you trying to lump everybody into one category, you know, because I mean, you see certain things happening blatantly, and rather than address those persons and their failure to focus on the issues, we lump everybody into one category and we say politicians and all political parties, and you know, that is something that we need to shy away from. What we need to do is to call a spade a spade. Don't get me wrong, I'm not afraid of criticism at all. And so if there's criticism to be had on my part, I'll take it. But it is really unfair when we have politicians who continue to spew a kind of negative, toxic politics, giving people the impression that is what politics is about, and we go ahead and lump everybody into the same category. So let us come away from that. It's Rohan, how has your week been going?
It's been good. A little bit on the quiet side.
Okay.
Not quiet on the activity side, but in terms of other things. But I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I am here, and I continue to do what I can to make Nevis a better place. So, yeah.
Well, Rohan, I don't know. My week has been going quite interestingly, because you see, everybody and the mother calling me are talking to me about the cost of the electricity bill. You know, I don't know if you've seen yours yet, but if you haven't, I would suggest you sit down. I would suggest you sit down before you open it, because that is the situation right now. I am lucky in that my electricity bill, for the most part, has not been as high as the bill that I hear some people talking about. But in my opinion, it is still too high. When my fuel surcharge is a lot more than my energy consumption, that is a problem, Rohan. As a matter of fact, just today I came across a social media post where a young man who I know is a single man, in the sense that he is alone in where he lives, and he posted to social media a bill of $600+, with energy consumption being 200 and something, and the fuel surcharge being in excess of $300, Rohan. what is going on as it relates to cost of living?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it almost 50% more than what he used, and and that is the reality of a lot of divisions, Jaedee. It is the reality of a lot of divisions to get their bill, and I think I said it sometime before. The first thing people look for now is the surcharge.
Yes.
And people are not so much concerned about the consumption, because if that is what I use, that is what I use. But when the surcharge exceeds the consumption by that amount, then people are really, really concerned. The cost of living really is out of the reach of a lot of people.
Okay.
And that is an undisputed fact. That is a reality. That is what we are facing right now. And of course, there are certain influences in that regard that we can't control. But I remember very well that it was a question asked and a situation used in an election prior, when people were asked about the cost of living, and it was promised that the cost of living would come down and all kind of things. But that hasn't happened, and we have seen in the past years, considering the COVID and all those other things, that the price of goods just go up and go up and go up. Today, and you know what? People never used to really pay much attention to it, because you go to the supermarket, it's 3.10, and then you go back the next time and it's 3.15, and you say, 5 cents.
Well, I pay attention. I pay attention.
You pay attention. I may pay attention, but some people don't pay attention. But when you now go to the supermarket,
you're closer to the microphone.
with $100, which used to probably give you 2.5, 3 bags to go with. You go to the supermarket now with $100. If you get a full bag, you're in good stead.
But Rohan, it's not just electricity alone.
No.
You mentioned the cost of food. There is water. And we're just talking about basic things at this point. There is water.
Yeah.
Because forget about everything else. You have to pay a minimum of $25 each month for garbage collection.
Yep.
And I remember I had a situation where I am paying $25 and nobody is coming to collect my garbage. Nobody is coming to collect my garbage. They collect my neighbor garbage and not mine. But I will give credit here, because I couldn't take it anymore, and I had to make a complaint. And I made a complaint. The first time nothing happened, but by the second time around, it was done. And so much so that they have gone above and beyond in terms of their level of garbage collection. Sometimes I ain't even put it outside, and they just open the gate and they take it out, and I say very good, because I had to speak up. But the reality is $25 is what you used to pay total on your bill. But now it is $25 for garbage collection. Exactly, starting point. That has absolutely nothing to do with the water use. Nothing to do with your water use. So we are talking about fuel surcharge with electricity that is considerably more than your energy consumption. We are talking about a water bill that has a base of $25 that has absolutely nothing to do with your water use. Then we are talking about going to the supermarket and the prices are going sky high. Then when you go to the gas stations, you go to the gas stations and you realize there's a significant increase at the pumps as well. Rohan, what are we doing to address this? Because my thing is, I expect that prices will go up. Because I talk to people in other places of the world all the time, and they will tell you, the price at the pump in America has gone up, But my thing is, what are we doing here? Are we going to continue to say it's happening all over? What are we doing? Are we even trying to put anything in place to ease the burden of people? Because what I find quite ironic, Rohan, is that when pressured, we say, man, there's nothing we can do. However, we find other areas to ease the squeeze of people. Because when we don't offer amnesty on this and amnesty on that, and I'm not saying you shouldn't get an amnesty, but it's so ironic that we pick and choose what is important. What are your thoughts, Rohan?
Yeah, I mean, we have seen it, but Jaedee, maybe we saw the signs and ignored them, because in the heart of the global pandemic that is COVID-19, people really got little to no relief. Remember, during that period is when we got hit with the water increases. We got hit with the increase in garbage collection. So at the height of when people were really struggling emotionally and financially, nothing was being done to aid them. And I know some people are going to say, the social safety nets, but we can remember the social safety nets were politicized.
Okay.
And weaponized for certain purposes.
Okay.
And when we do our community walkthroughs and our one-to-one, and people are going to tell you, and these are young mothers, among the most vulnerable with young children, that sometimes it's not even the ministry responsible for the social safety net. Somebody who working in there would come by and give them $150 for the month. $150 for the month. And these are young, as I said, young women with children. $150 for the month. That was happening in the height of the pandemic. And I'm sure people tired of hearing me talking about how the global world required that leaders sought to give families, the most vulnerable among us, some liquidity. That didn't happen. So for those people who are not benefiting from the stimulus packages at the federal level, we're getting nothing. That and that was unfortunate, and that is unfortunate. And now we come looking to come out of the pandemic, get into the endemic stage, and now we have to battle with the situation of the war in Ukraine. So the rising gas prices, and nothing is being done on that level. Nothing is being done on the level of the except now some people say that they're giving vouchers, but nothing really. But across the waters, I understand the fuel surcharge is not on the electricity bill.
Well, I was coming to that.
But we getting it slamming us left, right, and center.
When we talk about fair share, Rohan, these are things that we needed to be looking into, Rohan. And mind you, I am not saying that everything is going to be perfect.
No.
The problem I have with the landscape in Nevis in particular is that we have persons who are in over their heads. They simply do not know. I don't believe it's a case where some people just flat out don't care. There are few. But generally, it is not that they don't care, It is that they are inept. They simply can't do any better because they don't have the ability to do any better. They are not creative in their thinking. They're not in tune with what is happening. And I mean, I'm just being honest here. I'm being as respectful as I can, but I'm being blatantly honest. And that is the situation that we find ourselves in Nevis. And now let us talk about the ripple effect, you see? Because that is what I mean when I say we have to be in tune with what's happening. So here's the ripple effect. There are some parents who simply cannot afford to live right now. The bills are killing them, the electricity bill, and they struggle to pay the electricity because you do not want to go without electricity. We are in the summer and the place is hot. So you do not want to be without electricity. Additionally, we have children who are sitting exams. Is it that the screen is stuck, Melissa? Oh, okay. We have children who may be sitting exams. We have children who do some level of research, and so they require the use of the internet and that sort of thing. So you don't want the electricity to go. You also don't want the internet to go, right? And by the way, let me stick a pin and say here, I am so happy that the children at the secondary school level were able to return to school full time. We came here, we made a lot of noise about it because the electricity, the internet rather, that was offered to some of these families, that service was interrupted without notice. And so parents were worrying. Parents had no idea what to do, but now they have returned to school. It's a little bit better because they don't have to worry about the online class. But I continue. And so we have parents who, they want to pay the electricity first because they don't want the electricity supply to go. Then there is water. You want to wash your skin, and so they struggle to pay the water. By the time they don't pay the water that has a $25 base, the electricity, which is surcharge being higher than your energy consumption, there is very little left for food. Very little left for food. And so right here in Nevis, we have a situation, or we have situations where children are hungry. Children are under eating. And it's not that parents are bad-minded and just don't want to feed the children. They simply cannot afford it. And then what happens? We come in and we take the children away from the families because we realize or we feel like the parents are unable to take care of them. This is what I talk about when it comes to the ripple effect. This is what I talk about. You can't send a child to school every day and expect him or her to function at their highest capacity when they have nothing in their bellies. Yep. And that is the situation right now. And in cases where children are eating, their parents who are not eating because they're sacrificing everything for their children. And yes, life is about sacrifice, but we should not have to choose between paying the electricity bill and feeding our children. And that is the situation here. These are the things that they are not going to tell you. These are the things that they're going to push aside, and maybe to their credit, they really don't know because they're out of touch with what is happening. And I'm saying we need a caring government. We need caring representatives to remedy this situation because who feels it knows it.
Yeah, Jaedee, that too, and we didn't even get to the point where we talk about having those other responsibilities, the soft loan you took out to survive.
Yes.
In between the other financial responsibilities you had. All those moratoriums that have now passed on and banks and so on are calling and saying, I mean, they're not being rigid, I must say that, but it still plays on the human mind, and these are things that people have to deal with on a regular. And when you and I like the fact you said that they're out of touch, because one would like to think that if they were in touch and understood what was going on, they could say, boy, let us see how we now can ensure that at least the most vulnerable among us, or young people, or young students at the primary level, are getting a hot meal.
Yep.
Let us at least look into that. And let us see how we could partner with any private enterprise and say, listen, things are difficult. We understand that. And we want to ensure that XYZ is happening. Can you, or are you willing to sponsor a breakfast program at this school and that school? So at least, there's a breakfast and there's a lunch. But there's no creativity here. And when people are not really driven by humanity, this is what you're going to do.
So Rohan, before we shift to employment creation as we get to the latter part of the show, I just want to let the listening public know that the NRP is already deeply engaged in trying to ascertain how best we can reduce the cost of living on the island of Nevis. Because you see, when your salary is not going up and everything else is going up, we have a problem. And so when it comes to electricity and water, we are not saying that it's going to be free. It's not going to be free, but we are certainly going to put you in a position that it's affordable for you, and you're in a better position than what you're in now. So I just want to let you know that we are already doing some studies. We're already putting in the work to see how best we can reduce those for you, because we're not just about talk, we're not just about talk, and we are not just going to come and sell you all these things and criticize what's happening and not tell you that we are working on our plan to get this remedied. Rohan, shifting to employment creation. Recently, I saw some statistics regarding the number of persons that have been employed in the last year. And, you smile because I'm in the vision and you said this is good. And it's quite ironic. For those who don't know, I have training in communications. I did journalism work for a long time. And so the journalist in me couldn't just take one side. You see, because what is ironic is that we always seem to know how many persons have been employed, but we never have an answer to how many persons are unemployed. We never have an answer of how many persons have left secondary school and are awaiting employment, or have returned from university and are awaiting employment. We never seem to have those figures at hand, nor are we able to share them. But we know how many persons have been employed, right? And that is something that we need to look at. It's not everything that you see on social media or that you hear on the radio you should just take wholesale, ladies and gentlemen. When Rohan and I speak, go back and fact check. Go back and fact check. And so when those on the other side speak, I need you to fact check as well. You see, because we can't just talk about how many persons have been employed and not talk about those who are not employed or underemployed. Because have we considered that some persons are working more than one job? Have we considered that in our statistics? And so where you might see 5 persons, where you might see 20 persons being employed, it may be in fact 5 persons with 4 jobs. Have we considered that? You know, these are just some of the things that I want you to think about. You know, you can't just take things wholesale, because we very well know that there are lots of people walking through Charlestown on a daily basis who are not employed. We don't hear about that. We hear how many business licenses were taken out each year, but we don't hear how many businesses have closed their doors. Walk through Charlestown and you can say, but so-and-so used to be there. I remember when so-and-so was there. What are we doing to address this? So I want you, Rohan, for a minute to talk about employment creation, where you see some opportunities for employment creation for our people.
At the heart of all of this are young people, Jaedee, and I think we have spoken quite a bit about where we see opportunities for employment, and that is small business development. And small businesses continue to be the backbone of economies globally, and we need to really move in the direction where we are granting people the opportunities to be responsible for their own economic prosperity.
Yes.
We have a high dependency on big business, the government and the TDCs and the Four Seasons. But we really need to push an avenue for young people to get into business.
Correct.
And small businesses, if we do it right, and I know enough we can do it right, we can see that level of strength in our economy that will allow us to withstand the shocks that we normally get from the hurricanes, and of course you're seeing the issues of COVID-19. So that there is an opportunity there to ensure that we have that level of economic contribution. Cleaner, cheaper energy. There are opportunities, many opportunities in that realm. And that is why, I continue to talk about what does it mean for people. A lot of us talk about, things like geothermal, but what does it mean for people? There's a host of employment opportunities would have been present for the Division Public had that part of the thrust in our economy and getting people some relief in their pockets was really actually pursued and completed, because they're spin-offs. You could have seen employment in manufacturing, and that is critical, because when investors look around and say, boy, Navy is at a low electricity rate, I can do business there. And so the opportunity is there. The opportunity is, yes, in that same sphere, because we talk about solar energy, there is wind. There's wind and there is solar, and I said before, why aren't we using, or why aren't we taking advantage of the gifts of nature?
Yes.
We see, I think as recently as today, there was some big launch of a solar energy arrangement between a company in St. Kitts and the government. But we can go a little further and make solar panels available. Look at the cost and how can it be cost effective to people, and Dr. Bartlett added on to that, and you can sell or you can put energy into the grid and make some money for yourself. Opportunities there. Installation, maintenance, repairs, recycling. Opportunities in that realm. And then of course the blue economy, surrounded by water. The opportunity in that realm as well. So, there's quite a bit of opportunity. It's really going to be about the creativity of this NRV team to bring all of those things out. As you said, we are working already on plans on how we can best provide the opportunities to our people, and we are ready to go. The opportunities. It really just takes a creative mind to put them out there.
Rohan, I also want to jump in here and say that skills training is something that we have to continue to push, because a plumber in my opinion, is never out of work. You always need a plumber. You always need an electrician. You know, there are so many things that you can tap into with skills training, and I'm not just limiting it to electrical work and plumbing, but I maintain that under an NRP administration, we will see a heavy emphasis on skills training. That way, our people can do work for themselves. They are certified. They can even go on contracts overseas and contractual work overseas and do work as well. It's not all the time we have to import. We can export our human resources as well. And so these are the kind of things that you'll be seeing under an NRP administration. Well, Rohan, we have just a few seconds remaining, and I want to use the opportunity to have everyone tune into 2020 Vision Radio this evening at 8, because Dr. Patricia Bartlett, Rohan Isles, and Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge will be in studio. They are the NRP's federal candidates. And on Saturday, the action moves to Brown Hill, because we will have a public meeting right over there by Sandy's shop. And so we know a lot of things are happening this weekend, but we want you to take in a bit of what we plan to do to move this island and this country by extension forward. This has been Speak Up. I'm Jaedee Caines, and of course Rohan Isles has been here with me, and we hope to be back next week. Until then, continue to speak up about the matters that are important to you and your families. Good night.
Join Jaedee Caines and Rohan Isles this and every Thursday on the Caribbean's powerhouse, Von Radio, for Speak Up, a social commentary talk show that addresses the state of affairs on Nevis. Expect great conversations, different perspectives, and an all-inclusive approach to moving Nevis forward. Tune in. It's time for us to speak up.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.